This is a restricted area. Drill or something? Negative. This sector is clear. Fly by me. I hate drill. Ah!
You crazy mother...
All right, everybody, this is Donnie here with the Brewmasters Club, Craft Brews and Geek News. We are the official podcast of the Brewmasters Club here on Craft Brews and Geek News. We talk about news, we talk about national stories, local flavors, and our favorite geeky nuggets of pop culture. Who could possibly speak about all these topics and more? None other than Donnie, Gallagher, myself, the founder of Brewmasters Club. I'm here with Dane. Are you there, Dane?
I'm here. Hey, guys, I'm Dane. I'm a Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps, and here to have a good time.
And Ryan Roberts.
Hi, world. This is Ryan here. Just looking forward to talking to you folks about everything under the sun about beer and anything fun about news that's going on in the world right now. So, welcome.
Excellent. And that's what we're going to do. So we're here to talk about beer news and what's going on in the world of beer. The first segment that we have is actually called Beer News and What's Going On in the World of Beer. Just because this is the first segment and the first podcast that we actually have launched here, first episode, I wanted to kind of back up, guys, and if you can just kind of roll me on this one. We're going to talk about the story of craft beer and how craft beer started as craft beer. I pulled up a story that I found from a recent article online, and it was basically that in 1983, the New York Times wrote an article about a Seattle brewer naming it a microbrewery. 2 years later, a local beer writer, Vince Catone, started to refer to microbreweries as craft breweries, and then craft breweries as craft beer. So it was kind of a term that was coined about a small brewery using traditional methods and ingredients to produce an uncrafted, hand-made beer that is marketed locally. 40 years later at this point, we're talking about a specific definition for craft beer. According to the American Brewers Association, a craft beer has to be made by a craft brewer. So, in definition, what is a craft brewer? A craft brewer cannot produce more than 6 million barrels of beer a year. And a craft brewer has to be independent, meaning that 25% of that craft brewery is owned locally. Finally, the craft brewer has to be traditional. This means the brewer has to use traditional ingredients and fermentation, at least for a majority of the total brew volume. So, guys, I'm talking to you now, Dane and Ryan.
Yeah.
The only beer that is considered a craft beer, is it a good beer? I mean, is it a decent beer? What does the definition of craft beer mean to you? Ryan, kick us off.
I mean, those points that you just laid out there, being 6 million barrels or less, and then owning at least 25% locally, I mean, those are just a couple of things that I had no idea about. I thought the sky was the limit with the craft beer, but for me, and no knocking any type of beer that's out there, but for me, a craft beer is just something different that you don't see on the shelf. When you go to your local pub or your local bar, I mean, they give you those standard beers that everybody goes towards whenever you're at the grocery store and stuff. But for me, it's just something different. It's like that oddball, and it's kind of more enticing in a way. So whether it be an IPA, a stout, or a porter, if it looks off the market, for me, that signifies a craft beer. It looks like somebody put their heart and their soul into it, But those other things, I mean, heck, if I was a craft brewer and I could do over 6 million barrels, I would, but I'd still want to keep the name. You know what I mean, Donnie?
Sure. Yeah, no, and I understand that completely. And you raised a good point. When people, at least when I think of craft beer, being here in Tampa Bay, which we are kind of a growing hub for craft and local beer, with Cigar City and, Big Storm and these other guys that we've got. We've got a lot of good local craft beers, but what the point you raised is that in the average consumer's mind, it's actually, where's the heart, where's the soul, and where is the craft in the art of beer? Dane, did you have anything to different about that? I mean, from your perspective, from being a Marine, from being somewhere else, what is it like up there, or what kind of insight can you offer?
Well, here in North Carolina, there's a lot of craft brewery places. Wilmington's just down the road, got an awesome brewery. If you go to Asheville, places like that, there's 10, maybe 20 breweries, and they're all considered craft breweries. When I think about craft brew, it's going to be funky. It's got to have a cool label. No matter what it is, it's going to taste different. It's going to taste a little crazy, and someone worked really hard and put a lot into it. So that's what I think.
Yeah, and I think
about.
yeah, and I think that does kind of sum it up. You can't really generalize it. There's very good beer being made by today's brewer, and it doesn't exactly fit these qualifications. So should it be pointed out that these guys are not considered craft beer? Absolutely not. Beer is good or beer is great, but in the other words, every beer and every brewer has a unique story to tell. So all in all, what I would say from just what we've talked about is that craft beer is kind of a taste discovery. It's about experimentation. It's about being part of an evolving future and having fun and making dreams come true. Ultimately, dreams come true is a weird thing to say about beer, but at the end of the day, somebody's dream was to make that beer. So I think we're kind of coming up with the same thought process in that it's all about trying different stuff and really getting out of your comfort zone. Can we agree on that one?
And Dane, you kind of brought up a really good point. Like it's funky, and when you see a craft beer, whether it be a can or a bottle, like whatever's on the label, we've got a couple of those craft breweries down here. Coppertail is one of them, where they have these awesome, crazy designs, and those are something that we don't see in your traditional, Bud Lights and things like that. They stay very consistent. They stay, almost what we call like mainstream. But man, you hit the nail on the head. Like a craft beer has got to have a great can.
Look, you're gonna go to the store. You're gonna go to the beer aisle. You're gonna have that little section of craft beer. It's gonna have all this crazy artwork, and you're like, man, what is that? You're gonna have to read the label because you're not gonna know, and eventually you're gonna have to taste it because you're just not gonna know until you pop that open.
That's right.
And have a taste. So that's what I like about it. And what I like is when you go to the store, like I said, what's craft beer and what's not, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'm on board with that.
So just to keep things moving, I'm going to move into our next section here, and we're going to actually skip around just because we're trying to figure this format that might work. But from the conversation, I just want to clue in here and talk a little bit, because this is our first episode. We do not have a lot of local and huge news on this, but let's talk a little bit about the app. Just to say, what the Brewmasters Club is, because a lot of our listeners are going to be new. In fact, every single one of you are going to be a new listener. So the Brewmasters Club is a crowd-funded, community-driven app. Basically, what we do is we try to get, again, what we've been talking about this entire time is that people that do not understand or do not know or are not comfortable, even if you are a seasoned drinker, get out of your comfort zone and try something that you've never tried before. Our app is available on the iOS system, so for Apple devices, and it basically is a tool in your pocket to help you pair any food or meal combination that you may encounter with a craft or local beer. On top of that, we'll also tell you where to find that beer. So download Brewmasters Club on the iOS App Store if you can. Moving on to our next segment here, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what are you drinking and what you want to drink. Ryan, you said that before we started here, you went to the store and picked up a few things that you wanted to try or that you haven't tried yet. I did the same thing myself. Dane, being on duty, I understand that we are not able to drink, which is completely understandable. But Ryan, why don't you lead us off? What are you drinking? What do you want to drink? What have you got in your cooler to try? And why don't you share a little bit with us?
Yeah, I've been, drinking this particular stout here for a couple of weeks, and for me saying the word stout, I started off. I mean, we'll start at 15, 21. Doing your normal stuff with your Bud Lights and things, and I've slowly escalated over the years, and I was just one of those straight IPA drinkers, that was my go-to. But, over time you start to develop different tastes, and I found this one at the local market here. It's called Buck Snort Stout. And you say that 10 times fast, and you're like, whoa, what is this? You know, you're looking at the can. It doesn't look like much, but it's a West Coast style stout. And one of the things that I love about the saying, too, next to it is, like, a very quaffable ale. It kind of gets you intrigued, and then you read down lower, and it's from Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. So, I had to go and get this beer tonight. Me being the sports and Steelers fan that I am, they're about 2 hours north of Pittsburgh, and even though it's preseason, I was in full gear. So I would say that this stout that I've picked up and that I've become accustomed to liking now is definitely going to be one of my go-tos, and it's a very rich, hearty stout. Definitely a lot of different notes and different tastes, and I am no professional, beer taster when I say that, but it's definitely a really good beer, and I wish I could show you the can because it doesn't look like much, but it's funky, and as we've already talked about, that's one of the things about craft beer that we like. Plus, it's 7% on the ABV volume, so you can't really beat that. I definitely urge anyone to try it if you can get in your neighborhood, or if you're in Pennsylvania and you're not getting it, hit up your local market to get this thing, man. It's really, really tasty.
So is that stout the only thing you got this evening, or were you trying to get a couple other things just to talk about tonight?
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted to. Time did not permit to go to. We've got a really good liquor store here that's definitely, leading the market closer to the Citrus Park area that we're in, and in providing a plethora of craft beer juice. And I wanted to get there. I just didn't have time at the, got two beautiful young girls, and it was getting late, so I didn't have enough time to go and spend 30 minutes to decide what to get for tonight's events. But
yeah, no problem. Dane, have you had anything recently? Because I have four different brews to talk about today.
Right on. Well, let me jump into this a little bit. What I've been drinking lately is I've been trying to drink a little bit light, so I've been sticking with some Pilsners. Mama's Yellow Pills from Oscar Blues Brewery. They're located, their main site's in Colorado. They have a site here in North Carolina. It's in Brevard, over towards the Smoky Mountains, and it's actually a brewery I've been to. Had an awesome tour. A lot of their brews are here in North Carolina. They're in a lot of restaurants in the Carolinas, and their most famous beer is, and you may have heard of this, Dale's Pale Ale. It's in a blue can. It's a pale ale. It's good stuff. But I've been drinking the Mama's Yellow Pills, and something I've been wanting to try is there's a Front Street Brewery here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I've been wanting to try out some of their stuff. So once I do that, I'll keep you guys updated. But right now, Oscar Blues is where I'm at.
Yeah, no, it sounds pretty good, man. I've got three, I guess, kind of unique things that just, I was walking to the store today, and I was getting dinner, and I just said, man, I gotta try these. The first thing I tried was a vanilla porter. That was, again, Colorado, man, just hell of a place to make some beer. Breckenridge Brewery out of Colorado, they make some fine ales, and this one is a vanilla porter made with real vanilla beans. So there was a time in like a couple years ago that I really, really enjoyed porters. They're a little heavy. I live in Florida. It's a little hot, but similar to your stout, Ryan, it's just a nice vanilla porter. Just it has that nice, like, kind of creamy taste, but then a very light, sweet finish that I just really can't. You can't mess with it because you're sitting outside, or even if it is a hot evening, or if it's a cool evening, or you're by the fire, you're having s'mores. I mean, it pairs well with chocolate, with sweets, with fruit, with all sorts of stuff. I mean, it was just a Breckenridge Brewery vanilla porter, very cool if you wanted to try something neat. On the unusual side, I've got two more little nuggets here. The first thing was the New Belgium Heavy Melon. Have you guys tried that yet?
I have not.
Oh, been meaning to, though. It looks really good.
So it's a heavy melon, and it's basically a watermelon lime ale made out of Fort Collins, again, Colorado, and Dane, Asheville, North Carolina.
Look out.
It's 5% alcohol, and it's a lot. It's weird because my wife loves sours, so she drinks sours because that's the kind of craft beer that she likes. You know, that's great. Any kind of support for craft beer, I appreciate. But this one is their headliner, and it's called Heavy Melon, and it's got a splash of fresh watermelon and a touch of lime. It's definitely a little bit sour, a little bit sweet. You can taste the melon, you can taste the lime, but you don't taste, anything kind of that would prevent you from enjoying this beer. I would imagine this is good for the beach. It's good for the barbecue. If you've got some Cajun food or some real sweet, Southern Baby Ray's kind of barbecue sauce, it would kind of cut through that thickness and give you a little bit of crisp flavor. Again, that New Belgian Heavy Melon, really, really nice summer kind of barbecue beer. The last one that I have on my list to talk to you guys about is the weirdest thing, and it's not even really a beer. It's the White Claw Hard Seltzer. Have you guys seen that?
I've seen that.
I saw this probably 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. Ryan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm not sure if I've seen it. I was just thinking back in my head if I had.
So it's a hard seltzer, which means it's basically like a nummy, like a soda water. It's a soda water that's 5% alcohol. This particular one from White Claw is a 5% alcohol by volume. It's brewed from sugar, natural cane sugar, things like that, and it's made actually in Memphis, Tennessee, by the Seltzer Works, White Claw Seltzer Works company. So it's not exactly what you would define as a craft beer, but that's the beauty of craft beer is that, as we defined a little bit earlier in this conversation, anything that's kind of unique, anything that's kind of out there, anything that's kind of, thought-provoking, potentially, in at least the discussion that we've just had now, it falls in the realm of craft beer. It's just something that's unique and something interesting to try. I mean, would you ever have, Dane, on a hot, summer North Carolina day, reach for a seltzer or a hot seltzer? I mean,
freaking
5%.
Throw me a Zima, bro.
There you go.
Right?
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
The thing is, it doesn't taste like a Zima. I'm telling you, like it's literally like a soda water. If you've never had like a LaCroix or anything like that, it's a refreshing soda water that will get you drunk without even knowing. In fact, my wife and I were chasing shots of Captain Morgan with the seltzer, so it's pretty good, man.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun right there.
I was really hesitant to try it, but I ended up trying it anyways, and I was happy I did because it's pretty good drink.
Okay.
Do you have any more thoughts about that? We can do a lightning round if there's anything else that you want to try or any goals you want to set here in the next 5 seconds.
I think you hit the nail on the head with a couple of those beers, and I mean, I'm not sure if I'm thirsty or if I'm hungry. Talking about all those beers and what you can pair them with, I think that's really, going back to the app, I think that's really where everything's at. Being able to pair different beers with different foods and really getting those flavor profiles to come out, not just in the food, but in the beer. And like I said, I'm not sure if I'm thirsty or if I'm hungry right now, Donnie. Over here.
It's tit for tat, man. I mean, that's why we started this community-driven, crowd-funded company. Is that we're listening just as much as you're talking. So we want to be able to help people kind of understand that I listen, man. Your cherry schnapps peach ale is not for me. Well, have you tried it with some apple cobbler? Because it will probably change your life. Things like that are what we're trying to show people is that we're not snobs. We're not geeks about it. And to a degree, what we talk about here in a few seconds is going to be geeky. But for the instance of beer news, we're just trying to say, if you support local craft beer, you support local economies, and with that kind of support, we're all big fish. We take the little guys and we become bigger guys. So it just helps the overall economy and everybody else involved to be a little bit better. And that's all we're trying to do. Did you have anything to add to that, Dane?
No, we're good.
Good. So, speaking of you, Dane, In this next segment, we're going to move on to our geeky news. As I mentioned, we kind of change this around the format here to keep it with the beers and then move it on to the geek news. Sir, today is Friday, and yesterday a certain Rogue One Star Wars trailer came out, and I heard you had some particular thoughts that I would love to discuss with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, funny thing, I was on Facebook and I see Mr. Gallagher talking about swimming, the Olympics, Michael Phelps. I thought to myself, there's a reason he is watching this. And then I thought, oh yeah, Rogue One trailer. The new Rogue One trailer is dropping, and that's why he's here. Not for Michael
That's
Phelps,
right.
not for Star Wars. So, Star Wars, what we know about it. It's a Star Wars story. Fantastic. We're excited about it. We're excited to hear about these stories and see them, come to the big screen. First one's going to be Rogue One. Some takes I have from the new trailer. Obviously, Darth Vader. See Darth Vader at the end? That iconic deep breath. Oh boy, here we go. What I thought about it, Darth Vader, is it a bait and switch? I feel like he's going to be a set dressing. He's not going to be the lead villain, obviously. I don't think he's going to be in this movie that long. He might have a cameo.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't believe that at all.
What do you think?
So first off, why did they recast Rey? I don't understand. In Episode 8, why did they recast Rey?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
They didn't do that. First off, this is not Episode 8. Listen, a-holes, this is not what that is. This is a brand new Star Wars story. We've got to present this as in people that may be listening might not know. Star Wars,
over here.
a Rogue One story is totally different from any other thing. It is picking up 5 minutes before the iconic scene of Darth Vader walking onto the ship of Princess Leia and grabbing her and her crew and saying, listen, where are the plans? Where are the plans? These are the guys that got those plans. This is going to be a huge Saving Private Ryan type war movie where we're going into the trenches and we're going to find out what these people had to do to get to this point, to lead us up to the iconic moment in Episode 4, the first one that came out, in the 70s, and actually say, hey, this is where it started. So it's very exciting. It's a very cool moment, but man, Darth Vader is going to be in it. He's going to mow down some freaking rebel scum, and he's going to show his guns.
We'll see. This is a bait and switch in my mind. It's gonna be a quick cameo, and that's gonna be it. So that's what I think. Donnie thinks he's gonna be in it, slaying people. We'll see.
Oh man.
Now
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, Dane. This is why I think this, because why in the first? Think about it like this. We're 4 months away, and this is the first trailer we've gotten. So why on earth would they show Darth Vader just slaying down people right now? Right? They're gonna tease him. They're gonna slow leak it. They've got to get Aunt Jemima and Grandma to understand that.
I don't think so. This is another Suicide Squad where they're gonna show the Joker and you're be slaying things and acting crazy, being crazy, doing crazy stuff. Boom, 5 minutes in the movie. That's it. It's a bait and switch. I'm telling you.
Oh,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You can't be telling spoilers like that, man.
Hey.
No, he's not telling spoilers.
Hey,
what he's talking
spoilers.
about. But think about it like this. I mean, we've had so now Jimmy Smits, right? He came out and he said, "Hey, I've got a real small part in this. It's a cameo. It's a real small part." So that's his definition of being a small part. If Vader was going to be a small Joker piece, which he was in Suicide Squad, then they would have came out there and said it. They wouldn't have stood on the platform that is, Entertainment Weekly and said, "Hey, Vader's in this. You're gonna get some Vader." I'm telling you, man, right now, they're going to put Vader in it as all the fans have requested they do.
Well, you know what? I hope you're right, man. It's gonna be sick if he's in it. We'll see. What I like about this Rogue One, look, it's gonna be more war, less stars. Okay. But the thing is, we know how it ends. We know how
Right.
it ends. So are they going to be able to tell the story in a way that's going to keep us attracted and keep us wondering what's going to happen? Because we know what happens. They get the plans, obviously, and I'm excited to see that. I'm also excited to see the guerrilla warfare that's going to be going on. One scene in particular in this trailer is freaking, it's a character, I think his name's Baze Malbus, maybe, with the rocket launcher versus the AT-ACT.
Oh
Now,
yeah, we smash his face to the right.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so, but the issue I'm having is this AT, which is supposedly larger than the AT-AT that we know in the other Star Wars movies, is that it's bigger, but he was about to blow. He took this thing down with a rocket launcher, right? But the AT-AT was so
I mean, in the
hard to
trailer,
take
we just
down.
saw a head nod. We didn't see it get taken down. We saw a head nod.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he just blasted this thing in the face down.
Yeah. Well, I'm again. What I'm going back to. So let me just tackle the first point. This Vader thing. I'm telling you, man. Jimmy Smits. Go back to Jimmy Smits. He said that he was going to be in this. So just imagine that he's sitting at a table with all these guys and the rebels that are about to go out in this story, and they say, "Okay, when you guys are done with this mission, meet me at Alderaan." Boom, son. What would that do to your emotional tie, right? How would that affect you, Dane, as a Star Wars fan?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, I'm sitting
I
here.
think
He just goes, meet me at Alderaan, guys, and then you just see it in the next movie, kaboosh! Like it's he's done. Jimmy Smith's dead. I mean, it would literally just tug your heartstrings. You know, it would just hurt.
Yep.
It would hurt
Yep.
so bad.
So, my next point, Jen Erso. Is this the new Han Solo, or is this a one-time thing and she's done?
I don't think anybody makes it out of this movie alive, honestly. I think that if anybody will, it will be Jin Erso. But we've already heard that Donnie Yen does not.
Yeah.
He said that at Celebration, so we know that he's dead. But besides him, I'm betting that the rest of the guys do. If they did not, don't you think we would have seen them in the story, you know, if we were on a linear timeline, which we're not.
Yeah, there's no timeline as far as we know. So,
Yeah.
I'm afraid people are gonna fall in love with her character, her being the lead, and then she just gets destroyed and disintegrates into thin air, and people get sad. So
I'm just telling you, like, all I want is that Alderaan connection. I don't care how it is, but if they can tie that in, it will just make that all so much more tight. One of my last notes about that trailer, the one that just came out yesterday, is that Dane and Ryan, I'm talking to you, Ryan, too, but I know you're not as tight as we are about it, but
as they say, out of my element on this one. I'm gonna have all of these.
That's all right. That's all right. When we talk Steelers football, we'll call you.
Yeah, that's.
this
Dane,
is not
did
the
you
Ryan
notice?
you're looking for.
That's right. The captain says you're okay, so I won't kill you. But besides that, Dane, did you notice that how much larger the real estate is, how much larger the playing field is? Like from the first teaser trailer to now, I mean, we're talking about a pond compared to the Pacific Ocean. I mean, from what I saw in that trailer, just the amount of planets, people, space, time. Starships, the Death Star. I mean, this stuff was out of control, don't you? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so what I'm taking from that is in previous Star Wars movies, these characters they're obviously on different planets, but you don't see much of the planet. They're in this little, let's say they're on a desert planet. They're in the desert for a little bit, fantastic, and they're in like a little village. You don't see much else. You end up at this other planet with this huge city. Well, you don't see much of the city. There's a lot of that going on in the other Star Wars movies. This Star Wars movie looks like it's going to expand. It's going to show you a little bit of everything. The beach scenes, like ACTs walking on the beach, stormtroopers on the beach. It looks crazy.
That looks insane. Yeah, it looks absolutely awesome.
And the warfare that's going to be going on is going to be, I think, in previous movies that it's really going to draw people in that, maybe not so much Star Wars fans, but, action movie fans. I think they're really going to be drawn to this movie. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to kind of reach a couple different audiences. So at this point, I appreciate you guys, and we're going to go ahead and move on from that segment. Moving on next week, now that we've kind of started this thing, we're going to try and get, again, because the whole premise of our company is being, kind of community-driven and governed by those out there that are listening and tuning in and paying attention and trying to experience craft beer, as well as geek news and all that kind of stuff. We're going to solicit feedback, and we want you guys to talk to us. So hashtag Brewmasters Club, hashtag, us, as often as you can, ask questions, post statements, talk about the episodes, talk about what you want. If you want to come visit us online, we are at Brewmasters, www.brewmasters.club. I personally can be found at Brewmasters Club on Twitter or Facebook. Dane, do you have a Twitter handle that you'd like people to reach out to you at?
Yeah, you guys can get at me at Twitter, Dane_Mirt, DANE_MIRT, or Snapchat, Mane, MANE, Dirt, DIRT11.
And Mr. Ryan, do you have any closing comments now that we are talking so much? And if you can end this with your Twitter handle or any way that you'd like people to reach out to you.
Yeah, actually, I'm just going to give a quick shout-out to Resident Evil fans out there, because what was also released 3 days ago was the Resident Evil, the final chapter trailer.
Yes, sir.
Put that out there.
And we can talk about that, too. We can actually talk about that, too, if you'd like.
Well, I don't have too many comments to say at this time, but I do feel that they're going to make up for, I think it was at least the last two movies, and really tie this thing and bring it home, because, Mila just kicks ass in this entire series. But one of my favorite, I don't even know how many are out there now, but one of my favorite action thrillers of all time right here. So I'm really looking forward to this. It comes out in January 2017, so be looking for that, definitely. Yeah.
Dane, did you have thoughts about this trailer? Because I saw it too, and I've got my own opinion.
They're going back to where it began, to shut it down, to finish it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it.
I
think they're going to go more towards the zombie horror feel than this kind of weird sci-fi crap. So I think they're going to tie it all together, and it's going to be awesome.
Any last thoughts, Ryan?
No, I think Dane's right. I mean, they're definitely bringing back that zombie feel, and they're going to tear it down there at Umbrella Corps. So excited, man. Just really excited about that. A little, maybe not as much as you guys are about the Star Wars, but I'm definitely with you there too.
Well, that's all right, man. The Force is a magical thing. It both compels us and binds us together, and so we just appreciate everybody's indulgence in the Force, and we will always be here for that. So, Ryan, where can they find you?
Absolutely. Actually, I've got to work on those Twitter handles there. I'm not up to speed on that. So when I get one, I will definitely put it out there for everyone to reach out to me. But for now, just reach out to Dane and Donnie, and we'll definitely get working on that.
And in the meantime, everyone, you can find us at Brewmasters Club on your local podcast server. Brewmasters Club, Craft Brews, and Geek News. This has been Donnie Gallagher, Dane, and Ryan here chiming in for our thoughts, our input, and our local contribution that we can offer to the podcast nation. Appreciate you guys listening, and we will talk to you next week. Thank you so much. Have a great night.